guys, welcome to Relentless Talk Radio. This is the Digital Evolution. It's an entrepreneur's guide to evolving online. And the reason why I'm laughing is because Brandy and I's hats like totally are in alignment today. We have kind of a joke with this episode where we're going to be wearing different hat gear every day and we don't tell each other. And so part of the fun for me is kind of seeing how our hats are the same. So as you can see, I have my motorcycle princess hat on. Isn't that cool? Can you see it?
Yeah.
My friend Jennifer just took a ride just all over the flipping place. And she has a group called Motorcycle Princess. So if you're a female motorcycle rider, you should go ahead and join that group. And I am a huge fan of her. See how it's blingy? But what's funny about our hats is that you're wearing your son's bicycle hat.
I am. You're wearing my son's bicycle helmet.
And the reason why that's so funny is I grew up in a bicycle shop.
Oh, really? That's super fun.
And so when I say bike, people always assume that I'm saying a motorcycle, but I actually grew up in a bicycle variety shop. So I think it's funny that you're wearing the bicycle variety helmet and I'm wearing a motorcycle related helmet. So that's just my sick amusement. These are the things that keep me going.
Yep.
So holy crap, we're a little behind because, oh my God, we have like COVID time. Have you noticed that? That during COVID, we have this kind of like delay. People are late for meetings. We're late for meetings. We're forgetting shit. Is that happening to you?
A little bit. I'm really trying to use my systems to overcome it. But this, I was delayed because I back-to-backed myself this morning.
Yeah.
I'm in a location which is new. Like we arrived at this location last night. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh crap, I don't have that. And I don't have that. And I really got to go to the bathroom. So.
You know, this is the thing. The whole thing about Relentless Talk Radio is showing people what entrepreneurism really looks like.
It really looks like a bicycle helmet in a we're gonna call it my studio outside. Yeah. It's actually just a camping trailer, but it's the place to play.
Are you in a camping trailer right now?
Yes.
I love it. This is the perfect reason why I'm using BeLive for all my interviews. You know, isn't it funny? I started off at the internet radio station. It wasn't the right fit. And I was really tortured about like kind of terminating that fit and moving in a different direction. But have you ever noticed that when you fight, you know, something's not working and you let go to an alternative thing, it usually ends up being better?
Oh, always.
And that's how the whole BeLive thing is going to be, because we're going to be doing our episodes in the second and third week of August from wherever I am on Silver. I'm going to be in Sturgis or Wyoming or God knows where I'll be that day, but I'll be in a tent somewhere, probably working off my hotspot, or maybe in a coffee shop somewhere.
Yep. All doable.
All doable. So what are we talking about today?
So today we are talking about evaluating your existing presence when you need to move it. So right now we've identified that we talked about your health brand and how you're moving, how you're evolving that.
Right.
But then I know we have a specific example today where you have an updated purpose for a current website because things are changing all the time. Mm-hmm. So how do we handle a website update? How do we evaluate what we have now? And how do we decide how to improve it for this new purpose or the updated purpose, the evolved purpose? So we're going to look at MichelleMicalizzi.com, right? Because you are updating the design and adding, you have a new facet. So this is part of your evolution for MichelleMicalizzi.com is that you have a new facet called Micalizzi Rides.
Right.
So how do you look at what you have and then what you're trying to add and then make the appropriate updates to get from here to there?
So we'll just do a little back update for the folks that are listening for the first time. So I am a lifestyle entrepreneur. I've created a life around what I know and love, and I've monetized it in different ways. And also monetization isn't the goal of everything, right? It's just a life. I have a lifestyle that includes entrepreneurism. So Micalizzi Enterprises is my over brand. Under my over brand, I have Relentless Talk Radio. Micalizzi Enterprises is a business consulting establishment. And I have MichelleMicalizzi.com, which is where all my art related projects live and where my blog lives. So Relentless Talk Radio is what you're watching right now. And under Relentless Talk Radio, I have a lot of different special editions, and I have a weekly show. And then I have Micalizzi Enterprises, which does business consulting and project management and prospecting for companies. And then I have Michelle Micalizzi, which is my art presence and my motorcycle presence, because my motorcycle presence and my art presence actually relate. And I had to make a decision like where I was going to put Micalizzi Rides. Was I going to put it on Micalizzi Enterprises, because that's my over brand, and make it another branch of another high level over branch? Or what was I going to tuck it under Relentless Talk Radio, because I'll be interviewing business owners along the way? Or was I going to put it at MichelleMicalizzi.com, because that's where my art life lives? And I decided to put it under the MichelleMicalizzi.com presence, because all of the motorcycle rides that I'm doing will be inspiring blogs, and my blogs inspire paintings. So I don't know anybody that works like this, okay? I'm a visual journalist. I tell stories and I illustrate them, okay? And I do that in a lot of ways. I use Relentless Talk Radio as my hub for the stories, okay? So I'll be telling the stories on Relentless Talk Radio, but I'll be blogging about them, because my writing and my art are together. So I have a conversation, it inspires a blog. The conversation and the blog inspire a painting. Now, the conversations are about entrepreneurism, they're about philanthropy, they're about life, and they're about motorcycles, okay? So I will be traveling all over the place on my bike and doing lots of different group rides and planning a huge poker run for the LLS next year, which I'll talk about more later. And all of those rides will be inspiring paintings. So I decided to put it under MichelleMicalizzi.com. So right now, MichelleMicalizzi.com looks like an art site, which it is. However, I'm going to be updating it for two reasons. One, I've moved my hosting from one hosting provider to a different hosting provider. And I am going to be moving my site off of that hosting to a different hosting platform. So it's a perfect time to rebuild generally. And also, because motorcycles are a little edgy, I'm going to be kind of morphing my folky art style that has a semi-edge to it with my edgy motorcycle style, which has a softness to it.
Yes.
So I'll be combining these two brands. One is more edgy and hard, and one is more soft and folky, but they all are the same thing. So I'll be morphing that look and feel between the motorcycle culture, which is cool and flashy and hot, and my art culture, which is more colorful and folky and thoughtful.
So, and I think that if we just kind of recap, so you had a new branch of your business. Mm-hmm. You needed to decide where it was going to live, because you already had clarity about the role of each place and the function of each place. You could go, okay, well, functionally, role, where does this fit? So then you could arrive at the decision about where that slots in. And then from there, you could decide, okay, now from an aesthetic standpoint, from a functionality standpoint, the blog already exists. Like that's going to, from an aesthetic standpoint, oh, this needs to update to accommodate this new thing that you're doing. And then you could make your list of like decision points. So moving hosts was about good performance and getting the most value out of your money. So that's that piece. So just for the audience's edification, when you move hosts, you don't actually have to change anything. It can be a completely seamless transition if you want, but you're taking this opportunity to go, okay, we move hosts, and it's time to make some aesthetic changes to the site and add this new piece that you're going to be doing, so that you have a container to capture things that are to come.
And if folks that have been following me, part of the reason why I'm evolving digitally is because I've had a brand change. So Micalizzi Enterprises is a new brand, because my brand Fearlessly Deliver needed to morph. So my Fearlessly Deliver legacy site is moving over unchanged to my new hosting. That's where my blog used to live. So my blog is moving from Fearlessly Deliver to MichelleMicalizzi.com. And I had to make a decision. Do I want my blog to be on Micalizzi Enterprises, or do I want it to be on MichelleMicalizzi.com? And I made the decision to put it on MichelleMicalizzi.com because the blog directly relates to my painting. It is one and the same. So it didn't make sense to be anywhere else.
Yep. Okay, so great. So we've identified an opportunity. You're going to capitalize on this new thing. where does it belong? You made a decision about where it belongs. And now you made an evaluation of your existing presence. Like, right. Okay, functionally it will work. Aesthetically, like from a design perspective, from a look and feel, that needed to morph. So now you knew that these changes needed to happen because you're adding a new business element, but you also needed to make the change from the brand perspective because you're like, oh, we're evolving Fearlessly Deliver into Micalizzi Enterprises. So there were some specific events.
Backing up a little bit, it's not really a new addition, okay? Because Micalizzi Rides has been there under the Art of Fearlessly Living on my website. So it was there, but because I went ahead and bought the Harley and created a partnership with Buddy Stubbs, that morphed how I wanted to present the project.
Okay, so it was that this was in play all the time. It's just that there was a morphing in how you want to, well, even just a growth in the project.
I think it's very important to talk about that because I have 3 projects that I do with Michelle Micalizzi Art and Fashion. I have the Art of Fearlessly Doing Business. I have Micalizzi Gives, which is where all my philanthropy lives as it relates to my art. And I have the Art of Fearlessly Living, which I've renamed Micalizzi Rides.
Okay.
So this is important for people to think about, I think.
Yeah.
You can start out with one plan and think it's a really good idea. I mean, let's think of a business concept that it started out as one thing and it ended up as another.
I'm sure that there's
Shale Oil. Here's a story. Do you know Shale Oil? What Shale Oil was originally?
No, what?
Okay, here's my financial advisor history. It's a story I used to tell when I was selling Shell stock. So Shale Oil was an antique dealer. It was Shell Antiques or something. It was a family company. And when the son basically inherited the business, he decided that he wanted to distribute the antiques all over the world. So that meant he needed to get ships and he needed to put oil on the ships. And so as a result, what used to be an antique store, it was a thrift shop, basically. It was an antique store, morphed into Shale Oil because he realized over time that the money was in the oil, not in the antiques.
So actually, it reminded me Nokia. Do you know what Nokia started out as?
It's a telephone company.
Well, but it started out as a lumber company.
See, I love stories like that because people always say, Michelle, just get one thing and stick to it. I'm like, well, no, you know what? Let me tell you something. The successful companies, so Shell is a blue chip company, okay? Now, things are different for Shell right now given our current climate, but I'll guarantee you that when we come out on the other side of this, Shell's going to be just fine. I haven't looked at Shell's oil price, stock price right now. I'm sure it's dropped given the circumstances. I probably should go look at that. But there's some blue chip companies like Procter & Gamble, all different kinds. Procter & Gamble is another company that is constantly morphing and changing and adding brands. Mm-hmm. I always use Virgin as an example. God bless Richard Branson. I'm not a Richard Branson. There's only one Richard Branson in this world. There's only one Tony Robbins, but Tony Robbins is a multi-billionaire based on multiple companies. And I was just listening to his, I forget the name of the initiative he's doing right now because I'm having a brain fart, but he has a company that does, oh, there it goes. It's gone. I hate it. I hate it when you're talking about something. It was right there and it's gone. I have menopause brain. Gary Vee has lots of different companies. And the one that he's really been pumping up a lot lately is his baseball card company. He has a company that sells baseball cards, okay? And while he's doing that, he's also developing a company that is creating a tool, by the way, that you can go live at Instagram and it automatically posts on Facebook. So, no matter what your business concept is, it's going to be evolving and changing. And you can't be afraid to evolve and change when an opportunity comes about. And so that's what's happening with my company. I had a plan to put Micalizzi Rides in place 3 years ago when I sold my motorcycle. But until I bought the motorcycle, I couldn't put it in play. So I had it there, by the way, this is going to happen. And what my original intention was to document riding renting motorcycles. And I did that for a while, but then I decided not to rent for a bit. And then I just bought a motorcycle. So now we're moving forward, but your business is evolving like mine. I don't know what your business is for you folks listening in, but it's evolving. And so you always have to be looking at your social media and your web presence and more things that Brandy's about to tell you about that we need to consider as I make the shift. So go ahead, Brandy.
Well, so specifically today, we were going to talk about, okay, when you know that things need to change, because things are changing all the time, how to go about making those decisions. So we've kind of covered your process about making the decisions. Right. Now, how do you go about renovating an existing website? Like, okay, great. Now you're clear on what needs to happen. Okay, how to make that happen.
Right.
So, you're also clear about it's the look and feel, as well as adding some content that needs to happen. So I think that's really step one, is when you know a change needs to happen, getting clear about, all right, well, what is it about this that needs to change? So what's our new goal? So you're clear about, okay, the new goal is that these things feel cohesive together, that the art and the motorcycle feel cohesive together. And so you need to change the design, the look and feel, the colors and things like that. Okay, that's clear. Sometimes people will be like, oh, it's just we've evolved our message, or we've evolved our services. So even myself, we're going to make a homepage update, because we are very focused on marketing on our homepage, but we really do so much more than that. And I now have a way to talk about it that makes those things feel like they're related. So getting clear about the outcome you're after, what needs to happen, the outcome you're after, and then go, okay, if it's the design that needs to change, do we know the colors? Do we have the images? Do we have the assets that we need to make that design? With you, I know you're using WordPress. So it may be that you can make those modifications inside your existing theme. It may be that you want to choose a different theme. So we'll get a little technical for a second.
You don't need to choose a different theme, because what I did was my former hosting changed a bandwidth. Long story short, they changed the amount of space I had on my website. So my legacy site, Fearlessly Deliver, took up all the bandwidth. So I needed to use a free hosting. And I just literally in a day tossed something quick up there. So this is another thing, like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just throw something up there with enough information. So I separated out Micalizzi Enterprises from MichelleMicalizzi.com from Relentless Talk Radio, and I threw up a good enough website for each one of those things. It was a holding place. Now I'm taking that website and I'm putting into the new hosting. So I was planning on updating the look and feel, because something's just kind of tossed up there. It looks fine. Average person wouldn't know it was a toss up for me, but it was just up there, right? Now I'll be taking the copy off of there and putting it into a new space where it's more edgy and more modern. Using Beaver Builder, which is a template tool within WordPress to create stuff. Now, knowing I was going to do that, I've been taking photographs for 5 years preparing for this.
Yes, so you have good amount of assets to be using for your design.
From all my openings, from my former gallery, Fearless Artworks in Carefree, from motorcycle things that I've been doing over the years. I have video. I've been saving all of that stuff in a little file saying, for the rebuild eventually. So what you can be doing while you're, we're all super busy, and the only limitation we have is time. And until you have a boatload of money to delegate to people that you can hire, you have to create a plan where you're dumping assets in where they need to go, so that when you're ready to hire those people to delegate to, you can go ahead and do that, and or you're ready to take the time out to dig in and do the, you got the good enough. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. You got good enough, and then you got a little bit better than a good enough, and then you keep on building till you get the ultimate site. And just when you get the ultimate site, you're going to change it again.
Yes, and if you haven't been building assets, that's okay. Yeah. But before you go before you roll up your sleeves and get in there, or ask somebody else to be making changes on your behalf, you'll want to gather your content and your assets, like photography or videos, or even just a brand guide, like what colors to use. Because if you start with the work before you kind of have gathered all of the assets you're going to need, it's 10 times as hard. Because you're going to be like, oh, I need a picture here. I wonder where that picture is. Then you go search some stock photography, or like having all of your stuff in place, like having a good amount of it. Maybe you don't get 100%, but if you have like 80% of the things that you need before you sit down to do the work or to delegate the work, then it's going to take less time and be more successful.
And we just talked about this very thing in the video lab with Scotty Yang that we do on the second and fourth Thursdays at 7 a.m. We just talked about some different types of stock photos that you can use and that kind of thing, and getting a plan in place for your digital story for a video. But it's the same thing with a website. You want to have, sit down. Here's the deal. I have an old-fashioned notebook. I use a lot of digital stuff, but I have a pen. This is my dad's pen. It was in his briefcase when he passed. I will literally never lose this pencil. But just brain dump down. Here's what I want my website to say. Here's the story I want to compel. And then just grab a folder either on your phone, where you can create an extra folder on your phone and just go ahead and select out pictures that are right on your phone, or go, Google stock photography. Go look at the video lab, and there's a bunch of different options you can choose there for stock photography. And just dump in a bunch of pictures. So you can just focus on building the website and not focus on creating the content and getting the image all at the same time, because that will take you forever. Have an image file and have a content file. Know what your pages are. Know what you want to say on your pages. Send the content to your best friends and tell them to please look for typos. Okay? Like, if you haven't got a whole team that you're working with, just write down what you want the homepage to say, your bio to say, whatever the 5 or 6 or 10, whatever pages or the front page you're going to say, whatever you're going to say, send it off to your best friends and say, hey, could you just read through this before I post it? Because they're going to catch the glaringly obvious typos that you miss because you've been thinking up this thing that's your baby, and you're not noticing that you forgot the parenthesis RE for your as opposed to your. The little tiny mistakes like that. Just send off your copy to your family and have them read it for you. Right?
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
I lost the sound for a second. What I was going to say is that, yes, having your content together. Also keeping in mind that the audience you're writing for is your potential client. So a lot of times we're like, okay, we're going to do this thing and the way we want it to be. Really think about your goal and who you're communicating with, so that can really guide you to the proper outcome. Where you're in your bio, you're not like I. You're talking about what in your history would cause these people to want to hire you or buy your thing, or like it's really about them, like why you are the right fit for them, not just me.
Right. And I think that's always a really good filter to think about. But I've really been thinking about this again in the video lab with Scotty. We've been doing a worksheet about how to create my stories on the videos that we're creating, and what the story is that I'm trying to convey and for what purpose. So right now we're working on an evergreen video for the Relentless Talk Radio. And the purpose is to increase watchers, to increase followers, right? And we've been talking about my YouTube platform as well. Right now the same thing I've been doing with collateral for Micalizzi Rides. I've been just dumping all of my videos into YouTube and not focusing on growing my subscribers there. Just using YouTube as a holding pattern, as a relationship builder for the 250 plus people that I've interviewed. But this year, we're really working on increasing our followers on YouTube. And so now with that in the back of my mind, as I'm writing my content for MichelleMicalizzi.com, for RelentlessTalkRadio.com, for MicalizziEnterprises.com, and also revisiting my YouTube copy and my LinkedIn copy and all my copy on Facebook, Twitter. I'm revisiting everything collectively. So I have to be careful about not letting my brain creep too far out, because my brain is too big to get this one task done. And to remember that I'm focusing on rebuilding MichelleMicalizzi.com and adding in Micalizzi Rides. And then once I do that, revisiting the other platforms to make sure that those platforms have been updated as well, which I think you have something to tell me about my LinkedIn profile. My LinkedIn profile has been linked to something.
Oh, yeah. So you on LinkedIn, you have your profile.
Yeah.
And then you have a company page.
Yep.
And you want to have those two things connected so that when people, if they find your company, they'll see you.
Yep.
And if they find your profile, they can get to your company.
So Micalizzi Enterprises definitely has a company. I don't know if I've started a company for Relentless Talk Radio or not yet on LinkedIn.
Well, and so that may be an opportunity.
Oh, it's 100% an opportunity. Yeah. It's just on the list, right?
Right. And also prioritize, like,
yeah,
having kind of that list generated, and then the next time you come around and touch your LinkedIn profile, like, that's a good time to handle all the LinkedIn things.
So you're saying that it's not linked within my experience section?
I think that, hang on, I'm going to check it out. I think I made that note a while ago.
So we can actually share this on the screen so that people can see what the heck I'm.
Okay, so you do have Micalizzi Enterprises up here, but down here, okay, is that? Oh, okay. So if you, all right, now I'm trying to see your screen. Under your experience, where it says owner, lifestyle entrepreneur, and then it says Micalizzi Enterprises. If you put your cursor over Micalizzi Enterprises, you can see that it, in the absence of linking your company page, not Google, LinkedIn gives you search results for things that have Micalizzi Enterprises. So you can see that you've got Micalizzi Enterprises at the top there.
Right.
But go into your experience in your profile.
Yeah.
You can actually select that company out of LinkedIn. So then it will take them directly to the company instead of a search results page.
Okay. So I can go in here.
Gotta make you bigger. All right. Yes. Now select that. Now, if you hit save, it should take you directly to, I'll get on mine and refresh it. Oh, that's not what I wanted. So now that should be able to take me directly to Micalizzi Enterprises instead of a search results page. Boom.
Cool. So you know what? Here's an example of like a good enough situation. I went and scooped up Micalizzi Enterprises, but I haven't done anything with it there yet. Because again, you know, how much time do I have in the day, and I have to prioritize. So this is definitely something I need to update because I already have it updated on Facebook.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I can copy and paste what I have on Facebook over to Micalizzi Enterprises. So right now I'm taking my little notebook and I'm writing in update LinkedIn business pages universally. Because I'm already going to be going, and then here's another example of you're already doing something. Because I'm building out the website, and then I'm going to be revisiting Facebook to make sure that what I've built out is indicated on Facebook. I might as well just take the extra hour that I need to just go over and update LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You know, so I hadn't. It was totally a time thing. I hadn't done this, but I'm glad to have it back on my radar. It wasn't that it was really off my radar either, but it's good to put it on my radar now. You know what I mean?
Well, and to tie this back to, as your company and services and offerings evolve,
yeah,
your website is probably the first place that you reflect that. But then once that's done, you're going to want to kind of look at your other channels, like you were talking about, and make sure that they get updated too. So starting one place and then letting that roll out.
And I'm probably going to want to add, as I'm looking at this, I'm probably going to want to add Micalizzi Rides as a separate thing, because I have Who's Healthy Change separated out, and I have Relentless Talk Radio separate out, and I have my art separated out. So here's the question. Do I add it under a bullet point here under the visual artist part of what I do, or do I add it separately? So that would make me ask myself, and if I did that, do I make the art of fearlessly doing business separate? And I think my answer to that is no. Because Micalizzi Gives and the art of fearlessly doing business are purely art projects that don't necessarily have an independent following based upon the initiative, right? So if you're going to those projects, it's because you're a business owner or philanthropy-based constituent that is going to be tapping into my art based upon art for art's sake. But if you were a Micalizzi Rides follower, you could just be a biker and have no idea that I'm an artist.
Yep.
You could have no idea that I have anything that I'm this wacky entrepreneur. You just know me as a biker chick in leather. And you know, it's really funny because in my life, I've been a personal trainer, I've been a yoga teacher, I've been a biker, you know, and I'd go to a cocktail party and people would say, wow, I've never seen you in clothes. So, you know, I'd have to look at that person when I was a trainer and say, no, not a stripper. I am a personal trainer. Not that there's anything wrong with being a stripper or anything, but I usually am in sweatpants, right? Or I'm in leather, right? So I'll probably have to rebuild out a Micalizzi Rides component because there'll be people that are going to Micalizzi Rides and have no idea about the rest of the crazy stuff I do. In fact, some of my biker friends are in shock when they get to my Facebook profile. They're like, what are you doing? Like, I just thought you were the chick in leather with the bandana and the stilettos. Like, I don't understand. Like, where's the other stuff coming from? The same thing happens. People meet me as an artist. Like, wait a minute, you're a biker and a businesswoman? I just thought you were a painter. So, you know, depending upon the situation. But having thought this out, I'm going to also put a little to-do list on myself over here that Micalizzi Rides has to be added to LinkedIn.
There it is. So yeah, so that's thinking through the main presence. And so obviously for you, it's the website.
Right.
It may be different for every person, but thinking through the main presence and how it all works out, and then rolling that out to the other channels, just making sure that and the first time you do this, maybe you're like, oh, I don't remember what all my other channels are. What did I do the thing? This is a perfect time to just create yourself a little document that has all the things so that next time you have to do this, because there will be a next time, it's all there.
You know what I'm also doing? I don't know if you can see this. See where it says intern?
Yes.
So as we're talking, I'm like, oh, I'm getting a brain cramp. Because, like, you know, it's just me. And I get a huge amount of stuff done, but I have been tossing around getting an intern for a while. But part of the dilemma with being an intern is that everything that I do is potentially revenue generating. And part of the laws around internship is if what you're asking the intern to do generates income, you have an employee. So I've had internship on my list of, holy crap, I got to figure that stuff out for two reasons. One, I want to give an intern the opportunity to work with me and learn from me. That's the most important reason, quite frankly. And secondly, I have to figure out that I'm setting up my internship program in a way that absolutely is in alignment with the internship laws as it relates to tax law and as it relates to just mostly tax law, right? I don't want to be deemed of having an employee later and then I end up having to pay taxes and salary because I didn't do it the right way. So internships, again, every time I make a shift, I'm like, oh, I've got to figure that out. I got to figure out how I'm going to do that. So I need to revisit that a little bit too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely an opportunity, but there are just lots of guidelines and laws around that too. So making sure that you do it correctly is important.
And a lot of people don't. Okay. A lot of people just go ahead and give an internship, get an intern and give them a job. And then what ends up happening is they get audited and now you got a big problem. It's the same way as being an independent contractor.
Yes, right.
If you're a salon like I used to be and you treat your stylists like employees as opposed to independent contractors, then you also have a tax problem. So who would have thought that having a website change would make me think about taxes? But entrepreneurship is. You have to connect the dots.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So we've talked through when to make a change, how to evaluate the change, how to implement the change, and then taking that change and rolling it through the other places that are affected.
Have we hit all the checkpoints?
We've hit all the checkpoints.
That's awesome. And we actually did that in a half an hour because we started about a half an hour. Let me look at my 35 minutes. Okay, we're a little over, but not that big of a deal given our deal. So that's our story. You're renovating your presence. This is episode 8 of the Digital Evolution. It's an entrepreneur's guide to evolving online. Brandy and I meet every first and third Thursday at 9 a.m.-ish. And we talk about the evolution of my presence, and hopefully something that I'm saying about what's going on with me is going to jog you and make you think about how you should evolve online. Now, if you want to meet with Brandy and I one-on-one, you can go to meetwithmick.com, and you can, I'm going to go ahead and put this scrolling across the screen. You can actually ask for a free consultation appointment with Brandy and I and see how Brandy and I collectively can help you, and or just Brandy on her own, to help you to evolve online. So if everything we just said gave you a giant brain cramp and you're like, dude, I need to hire someone to get that stuff done, or I just need to consult with someone about, how I should delegate this, then please do go to meetwithmick.com and choose a consulting appointment with Brandy and I, and jump on a call with us and let us help you.
Yes, for sure.
Cool. So, Brandy, enjoy the flippin' camper. Hopefully you'll be able to turn off your computer soon and just go enjoy your kid. Now, is your husband with you?
Right. Not yet. He is arriving tomorrow.
So cool. So awesome. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes.
I will talk to you in a couple minutes about the next thing we have on our to-do list. And everybody, thanks a lot for evolving online with us today with Relentless Talk Radio. This has been Digital Evolution, an entrepreneur's guide to evolving online. We hope to see you back here again on the 3rd Thursday of the month, which is coming up, where we'll be talking about something else equally as inspiring and stimulating. All right. Talk to you guys later. Take care.
Bye.